Hello and welcome to Miss Bailey's Daily Dose. Today we are going to be learning to tell the time to the nearest 5 minutes. So from the beginning of these videos we've done o'clock and half past, we've done quarter past and quarter to. So they are more the year 2 objectives. This objective, telling the time to the nearest 5 minutes, is a year 3 objective and a greater depth year 2 objective. So the children are going to be able to understand what each number on the clock represents in minutes and hours. They're going to be able to write the time to the nearest 5 minutes, and they're going to be able to draw the hands on clocks to show the different times. So this is just a quick, easy starter. If you've got a clock at home or you've used my template to make your own clock, you can choose which one you'd like to do. So this one says, what is the time? Number 2, what would the time be 1 hour later? And number 3, what would the time be half an hour later? So see whether you can have a little try on your clock, pick one of those questions as a quick, easy starter and see whether you can show it on your clock or quickly write it down. So number 1, what is the time that this clock is showing? Number 2, what would the time be 1 hour later than this time? And number 3, what would the time be half an hour later than this time? So number 1, what is the time? Well, I know that my big hand is at the 12. So that means it's an o'clock time. And the little hand, the hour hand, is going towards number 1. So I know that it is 1 o'clock. Number 2, what would the time be 1 hour later? So if I've got it, if I make my clock 1 o'clock, and I'm doing it 1 hour later, that means this big hand goes all the way around and back up. So I know that 1 hour later than 1 o'clock would be 2 o'clock. And I can see that this hour hand has moved from the 1 to the 2 to make it 1 hour later. And what would the time be half an hour later? So I'm back on my 1 o'clock and I'm saying what would the time be half an hour later? I know that in a full hour there are 60 minutes, so in half of that, so half of 60 is 30. And I know that when I'm doing a half an hour time starting from 12, this big hand moves straight below. So halfway around the clock, 30 minutes round, straight opposite to the 6, so it'd be 1:30. Perfect. So this clock here shows the hours in black. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we know it goes around again because there's 24 hours in a day. So another 1 o'clock, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The blue shows the minutes, and we know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. And you can see those here. And you can see that it goes in a pattern. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. It's going round in 5s each time. So when the small hand is pointing at the hour, so pointing at one of those black numbers, you know that it's whatever time to or past that hour. But if the longer hand is pointing at that number, like it is here, so it's pointing at the 4, you know that that is showing number of minutes past or to the hour. So, for example, if I show you on this one, how many minutes past does the blue hand show? Well, you can see that the hour hand, that smaller hand, is pointing the number 12. And you can see that the longer hand, that bigger hand, that minute hand, is pointing at the 2. So if I start from 12 and we go around in 5s, 5, 10, I know that this clock is showing 10 minutes past 12. And I know it's past because this half of my clock is telling me how many minutes past the hour it is, and this half of my clock is telling me how many minutes to the next hour it is. What a lot of the children get mixed up with is looking at the hour numbers rather than the minute ones. So some children might say, oh, that's 2 minutes past 12 because they're looking at that number 2. It's really important that the children understand that each of those numbers that are the hour numbers, so the black ones, when that big hand's pointing at it, it means that it's pointing at the minutes. So each of those numbers is worth 5 and we go round the clock in 5 minutes. You can see here, these little black lines are worth 1 minute each. So if I was showing 2 minutes past 12, that big hand would be exactly there. So you can see 1, 2 minutes past 12. But this is showing 5, 10 minutes past 12. And we keep going round. So this one, we can see the hour hand is past the 1, but not past the 2 yet. We can see that the big hand is pointing at the number 4. So we start at the top, 5, 10, 15, 20. So you can see that it would be 20 minutes past that 1. So 20 minutes past 1 because that hour hand is just past the 1. Having a look at this one, again, we're looking at the minutes. So that big hand is pointing at the 5. We know that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. And we know that it's past. So it's 25 minutes past. And we're looking at the hour hand now. And it's just past the number 3. So 25 minutes past 3. The next one, this is where the children start to get a little bit mixed up. So they might say, oh, it's 5, 10, 15 minutes past 1. They are correct, but from my previous videos, we know that when the big hand is pointing at that 3, it's a quarter past time. So we know that it is quarter past, and again, we're looking at that hour, and we know that it's quarter past 1. Just like this one, we know that when that big hand is pointing at the 6, it's not 30 minutes past. That's not what we call it. We call it half past. Yes, we know 30 minutes have gone from the o'clock time round. So you can see it's directly opposite from when the big hand would be at the 12 for an o'clock time, and when the big hand would be at half past time. So it's exactly halfway round, but we'd call it half past. So it would be half past 10. And you can see that it's 10 here because that hour hand is past the 10. It's halfway between the 10 and the 11. Well, when it comes to telling the time where we say it's to the next hour is where the children start to get a little bit confused. So I've changed the minutes on here, and the best way to remind the children how to do it is to look at their opposites. So we wouldn't say, for example, 35 minutes to the next hour, because it's not. We count back in 5s from 30 until we get to the o'clock time. And the best way to do it is to say, if that's 5 minutes past, then its opposite, which would be 11, would be 5 minutes to. 10 minutes past, 10 minutes to. Quarter past, quarter to. 20 minutes past, 20 minutes to. 25 minutes past, 25 minutes to. Half past. And that's how we do it. So that's a way that I get my children to have a little look. So if you've got a clock at home, you can write those in, and that then helps the children know how many minutes to the next hour it is. So on this one, that big hand is pointing at the 7. Lots of children might say, oh, therefore that's 7 minutes to 11. We know it's not 7 minutes to 11 because we know that when the big hand is pointing at the 7, it's talking about its minutes. And we know that that big black number is talking about the hour. So we need to figure it out. So we can see that it's 25 minutes to 11. So 25 minutes to 11. And that means it's 25 minutes until the new hour of 11 o'clock. And we know that it's to the 11 because it's just before the 11. On this one, the big hand's pointing at the 10. This time, it is 10 minutes to. And that's just a fluke. So it's just a fluke that that 10 for the hour is also 10 minutes to the next hour. So that wouldn't be 2 minutes past 8. It would be 10 minutes past 8. But on that one, it's quite an easy one. You know that that equals 10 minutes to the next hour. So you can see that it's 10 minutes to, and again, we'll have a look, which hour number is that hour hand just before. So it's just before the 8. So we know it would be 10 minutes to 8. So 10 minutes to 8. We'd write it just like that. Now when we've got these ones, we know that the big hand points towards the 9. Yes, it's 15 minutes till the next hour, but we don't call it that. We call it quarter to. So this one would be quarter to, and the hour hand is just before the 5. So it'd be quarter to 5. Now we're going to see whether we can draw the times using a clock. So when I've got a clock face, just like this, the best thing to do is to write the minutes past and the minutes to. So I know that's 5 minutes past, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And then I'm going to look at the opposites like I did last time. So 25 past, this one must be 25 to. And I can put a little 2 here and a past here. So then I know. If that's 20 past, I know that's got to be 22. Quarter past, quarter to. 10 past, 10 to. 5 past, 5 to. I know that's 60 because that's where the big hand points toward 9 o'clock time. So say if I was showing 20 past 4. My big hand, that minute hand, is going past. You see that it's pointing at that 4, so it's 20 minutes past, and it's 20 minutes past 4. So my little hand is going to be past that hour 4, and just about past it, just like that. So it's past the 4, perfect. Then if we had a look at a time that's showing, say, 22, 5. So I've got my clock. Again, putting in my numbers. I always find it easier to do the 12, the 3, the 6 and the 9 first. And obviously this isn't perfectly to scale because I'm just really quickly doing it. So say if I was going to show 22.5. Again, I'm putting in my minutes. Grab another pen. I know if that's 25 past, this is 25 to. 20 past, 22. Quarter past, quarter to. 10 past, 10 to. 5 past, 5 to. So my big hand is now looking at pointing at 22.5. So I'm looking at the 20 and it's going to be pointing straight at that 8. And because it's 2.5, that means that my little hand is past the 4, but going more than halfway past it. So it's going towards the 5. So I'm pointing around about there. You can see it's past that halfway point and it's going towards that 5. So that would show 20 to 5. So see if you can have a go now at drawing on the hand to those clocks to be able to answer questions where you can tell the time to the nearest 5 minutes.